Evening everyone, Ashley from European Relocation Services here. So, continuing on from my previous live video where we were discussing how moving to Spain is not impossible since Brexit, I thought I'd give you a rundown on the processes involved in moving to Spain. Now, this isn't going to be a long-winded, complex saying X, Y, Z and regulation, yada yada. It's going to be a brief, hopefully easy to understand summary of the process, just so you've got an overview and an understanding. So let's start. We're not going to go, oh, you decide what to move. No, that's easy. So we'll start with what you do is once you've found, you've communicated with us as a movie, you decide you want to book us, you've sent us your inventory, you've sent us your docs. So the first thing you would have to do is, as I say, send us your inventory, and then you'd send us the list of documentation we ask for. Then, as far as you're concerned, more or less, it's going to be paid, obviously. More or less, you've got nothing really left to do now until we get to you and deliver it. Well, loading, I suppose, as well. But customer-wise, you've got nothing left to do, full stop, except possibly paying the difference between the IVA and possible IVA bill and possible tariff bill, because we will, when we give you a figure, that's that we hold on to, which we explained to you at the process of booking. The figure we quote is a guidelines. Now, it could be more, because they might add duties on it. It might be less, because they don't add duties. It might be less because of the exchange rate's lower or the exchange rate's higher. So that figure's the guidelines. But that's really all you'd have to do. Right. So we get to you, we load. The van crew then confirms to me the inventory is correct. I submit your paperwork to the UK export agent, because we're talking going to Spain for now. So I submit the paperwork to the export agent, who does their stuff. Not sure what they do at their end, not that bothered, to be honest. They do their stuff. They then get the Euro custom clear. They send me a thing called an LNR. Now, the LNR is the first stage of a T1 form. I'll explain what T1 is in a minute. But the LNR is the first stage of T1 form. So the van's loaded, custom cleared for your goods. Van heads to port. In our case, usually we will ship through Newhaven into Dieppe with DFDS, officially Transmanshire. I think I pronounced that right. Well, we'll operated by DFDS. But before the van can check it in at the port, what the van must do is the van has to go to see the HMRC, so UK Border Force, at the port of Newhaven, who convert the LNR reference number they give them into a thing called a T1 form. Then they go and check in with the ferry company. I've booked the ferry by this point, obviously. We've also had to provide the ferry company a lot more information than before. But they get the T1 form back. Now, I'm going to explain what a T1 form is. A T1 form is quite a useful piece of paperwork. It's a part of another system. Again, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically all you need to know what a T1 is. A T1 means that the goods have been customs cleared by a UK customs activity, in this case HMRC, / UK Border Force, for our case at Newhaven, to enter the EU and be cleared, the EU is accepted as well, and to be cleared at the final receiving country, in this case Spain, so that the goods don't need to be checked at France, etc. It enables the goods to run through without having to be checked, stopped, checked, etc. in France. Meaning your goods will only be inspected or possibly inspected, because sometimes they inspect it, sometimes they don't at the customs stations, when it reaches the final customs station in Spain. After that, we then run on and deliver your goods as arranged and discuss with you, etc. Now, to bear in mind, one of the reasons it now takes longer to do than it used to is, firstly, the van has to go to see HMRC / UK Border Force in Newhaven to get the LNR converted from the LNR into the T1. Now, that pre-Brexit wasn't needed for UK to Spain. That could take anywhere from 10 minutes to an hour on average. Sometimes it might take longer, but that's an hour added. Then the van goes, checks in. Checking into the ferry, back as was, more or less. Anyway, and then now when it reaches Spain, the van has to go to a specifically, as well declared on the T1 form, customs activity. Generally, we will run it to a place in the Valencia region. So the van gets there. It physically has to go there. You can't just say it's been there. It's got to physically go to the customs station to be cleared. Now, this can take anywhere from an hour to multiple hours. I think the longest we've currently had is 8 hours. I've heard of some people on some routes having up to 3-4 days. We've not yet had that. But that's why it takes longer. Yeah. So then we deliver the goods. It's to you after this is cleared. At clearance, when we get given the go-ahead to say the vehicle has been cleared from the customs activity, this is when we find out if there's any IVA, if there's any duty on it, and what the figure comes to. The figure we give you before that is only, as I said previously, is a guide. We do not know the exact figure until then. It could be more, it could be less. We don't know. It's only ever a guide. We can roughly give you a guide, as I say. We base it on the value of the goods at 21%. As I said in the previous video, as I said on the website, I said all over the place. They don't need a new value, they don't need the used value. They don't need the used value, so they don't need the insurance value even. They need the used value. Basic used value on second-hand value, as in what you'd pay for the goods as if you were to buy the exact goods you've got now, as they are now. So like for like, I don't mean brand new like for like, I mean, if you were to go and buy, let's say, this mug here from a car boot sale, that's what the value they need. Yeah, they don't need to know the inventory to that detail. There's 20 mugs on board. It's a second-hand used value, what you'd pay like for a car boot sale, junk sale, etc., whatever you wish to call them. Okay, so yeah, right. So then we will run off and deliver to you in Spain. Simple, really. I'm just going to recap, as I say. So you book us, you send us the additional information we've asked for. We then, you pay us, obviously, the payment as discussed in the terms and conditions. We then turn up to load. We load. We confirm the inventory. The inventory is then confirmed back from the team on the van to me in the office. I then submit the inventory and that information to the UK agent, who submits it to HMRC for export clearance. HMRC then approve that, send the UK agent an LNR. The agent then sends me an LNR. I send the van the LNR, which then takes the LNR reference to the UK Border Force, in our case, at New Haven Port, even, to turn it into a T1 form. They then check in with the ferry. I then do basically the exact same to the Spanish agent. I sent the Spanish agent a copy form, T1 forms, and all the information you've sent us. The Spanish agent then has that sat ready and waiting for when the van reaches the customs clearance activity in Spain. Because we're under the T1 system, which is a part of the largest system, the goods can travel through France uncustom cleared, so there's no custom charge to be paid in France. Full stop. The T1 is a part of the system that permits external goods to enter the EU from an external third nation country, in this case Britain, to travel through the EU to their final clearing destination, where any duty, VAT, tariffs, etc. will be paid if due. In this case, that's Spain. I just have to admit that when the van gets to the customs clearance activity, the customs clearance activity will take the paperwork the van's got off it. It will let our customs agent, because the customs clearance activity and our customs agent are two separate entities. Some customs clearance activities are the Guardia. Some, I believe, I won't swear to this, some I believe are the nationals. But again, that's not sworn to. That's just a belief. Some are run by third parties authorised on behalf of the Guardia. These will then let our customs agent know we're there, who will then begin the clearance activity, submitting the paperwork up to the Spanish government. The Spanish government does what it does with the paperwork. Again, I'm not 100% certain on what they do. They then send it back to our customs agent, who lets me know when the van is cleared. They also let the customs clearance activity know the van is cleared. Now, while the vehicle is at the customs clearance activity, there's a possibility that the customs activity may choose to inspect the vehicle and the goods on board, which means the goods may, at some point during the process, be unloaded. This is in Spain, to be checked against your inventory. Now, we've checked the inventory to make sure the inventory you supplied us and the inventory has been loaded are accurate anyway when we loaded, in this case, in the UK. But they're perfectly entitled to and allowed to do that. The vehicle then, everything's correct, the vehicle's been cleared, customs in Spain are happy, customs activities happy. They send us me the information to say, like, the van's cleared. Generally, the van won't be told that. At the same time, the customs clearance activity will then print out a set of paperwork to give to the van, who then goes. It's at this stage when they've told us the van is cleared, when I, as I said earlier, get told what the customs bill is, as in what, if any IVA is due, any duties are due, who, etc. This, as I said before, isn't told to us before the vehicle arrives. Spain doesn't work on a system where it pre-clears. Spain clears at point. At the minute, the UK is on some loads. Household goods seem to be one of them loads, based on our experience, is pre-clearing That may be based on information change in July, but I'm not going to discuss that particularly. But that's a rough rundown on the customs system. It is more complicated than that, but that's all really you need to know as Mr. Joe Public, or Mrs. Joanna Public, I suppose. Thank you for watching. Goodbye and good night for now.